Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2014 North American Indigenous Games Daily Wrap-Up Show. I'm your host, Roger Ross, here with my co-host, Brad Belga.
And today we're going to be looking at all the daily exciting events that are happening at the North American Indigenous Games right here on Access 7.
The Games began with the traditional lance run, starting in Prince Albert and ending in Regina. 10 Aboriginal youth between the ages of 13 and 18 have been carrying the lance stick to various First Nation communities across the province to honor the traditional ceremonies and spirituality of the Games. Here's a look at their journey. Introduction to the lance run. And welcome back. Sorry, we're back in studio here. We actually have two special guests with us today from the lance run. We have Gabrielle Geddes and Mr. Alan Ross, who is the lance run coordinator. Gabrielle was one of the runners, of course. So Gabrielle, I'm going to take it to you. Can you tell me anything about your experience? What do you remember most about the lance run?
Just making new friends and experiencing new.
What about the places and people that you ran into? How did they treat you when you guys were on the road?
They welcomed us really good. They fed us and
took good care of you? Good. What was your most favorite part about being on the lance run?
Making new friends and family with all the other lance runners.
What about your experience running into the stadium the other day?
That was amazing. That was the most people we've ever had.
So, Alan, can you tell me about your experience during the lance run and how the communities treated you? What were your favorite parts?
Well, my experience was just an incredible, wonderful experience. Probably the best that I've had as an educator and organizer of events such as this one, because right from the beginning I had an incredible group of youth runners to work with, and an equally gifted group of staff to work with as well. And that combination led to delivering some incredible events along the way. One of the most memorable events that I've had was coming up this hill on the gravel road of George Gordon First Nation, and there on the hill looked like literally hundreds of people gathered with horses sort of in the background. That was a powerful sight to see, and then our runners coming there and being welcomed by the chief and the leadership of other local First Nations. That was something else, and so that was just one community. Every community had their own characteristic and really had powerful experiences for everyone.
We had the Lance Parade over, of course, and Roy Bison was a big part of that. Can you tell me a little bit about that history of that Lance and how we got to that point?
Well, the Lance, from what I've come to understand, is it was something that goes back literally thousands of years, as the oral history tells of its significance and how runners, prior to the horses, were able to deliver very important messages to nearby communities. And there was protocol that went along with that, very, very, very significant spiritual protocol that went with it. So over the years, it's been transferred from one generation to the next. And so the North American Indigenous Games have followed for this year, followed the games from 1993. Right. Yeah, when they first started it off. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for that, Alan, and great job with the Lance Runners. It was an incredible event, a big part of this year's 2014 games. I want to thank you both for coming into the studio with us, and we'll be seeing you down the road here. All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
The official first day of NAIG began with the large crowd of the opening ceremonies at Mosaic Stadium. 3,700 athletes from the Northwest Territories to south of Florida filled the stadium with thousands of their supporters, full of energy. The ceremonies featured a welcoming speech by Elder Tony Cody, a performance by Thunder Hills Dance Theater, Inez Jasper, and many more. Let's take a look at some of the highlights.
We're bringing you online coverage and television coverage with a partnership between Access TV and APTN.
Let's make FIFA look like small fries. Hey, were you just reading my mind? I keep forgetting that you're a mind reader.
I was inside Serene's head just now, and I'm going to be reading her thoughts all throughout the broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, your athletes.
Team British Columbia.
Équipe Colombie-Britannique.
So we have Team Alberta. They have about 548 athletes. There's a lot of Ontarians.
Yeah, that surge of red in there.
500 athletes.
500.
And, we want to give a shout out to our American athletes because, they've come quite a ways to get here. And, just welcome to them to Canada and welcome to Saskatchewan and welcome to Treaty 4.
Oh, and you can hear the crowd.
Yes, they're going wild.
Getting excited for Team Saskatchewan.
I welcome all of you from all of our nations across our beautiful Turtle Island. I am Shay Haley McNabb, Ms. First Nations University of Canada. My Indian name is Wapanatuk, Morning Star, and I want to wish all of the athletes, their families, and their fans a week of competitive sports, and most of all, for them to have fun. You have all worked very hard.
And what's interesting is a lot of people are looking at these. This is a performing arts company, and you have to be very athletic and very fit to be in dance. And Serene is a very good example of how fit you have to be a dancer. And Santi Smith is another famous Aboriginal former ballet dancer, and now she owns the Gahawi Dance Company.
Yes.
Look at all the little baby chicks coming out. Oh.
Who am I speaking with? What's your name?
Skylar Belanger.
Skylar Belanger, where are you from? What you playing?
I'm from Barons River First Nation, Winnipeg, Manitoba.
And what sport are you playing?
Basketball.
Basketball. And do you want to say hi to anybody back at home?
Hi, Robin.
Here is the beautiful and the talented Crystal Shawanda.
How y'all doing?
This world's gone crazy. At least that's what the headlines say. I don't know, it just seems like lately it's only bad news every day. They said a change was gonna come, but I don't think they meant for the worse.
And 118!
Yeah. What the hell you talking about? Why is everybody smoking meth and rocking out? 2/3 of the world on prescription drugs. We don't need pills, all it takes is hugs. Can we all just love one another? Stop building barriers based on skin color. Kids in Canada with nothing in the fridge, yeah. Children in the Middle East fight for religion. Kinda seems like we've all been brainwashed. We can't get enough, so we take what they got.
In 2008, we were handed the North American Indigenous Games as a host. It is our honor today to present that to the host of the Regina Host Council.
Let me state the absolute honor it is to host this edition of the North American Indigenous Games in the city of Regina, in the heart of Treaty 4 territory.
Let's give it up for Laura Grizzly Paws.
Thank you for participating for the opening ceremonies of the 2014 North American Indigenous Games.
Well, the first and only sporting event that took place on day one was the under 14, or I guess it would just be boys and girls basketball. The under 14 female basketball sees Team Saskatchewan and Team Ontario at the top, with having both played 2 games and, awesomely enough, both winning 2 games. Team Manitoba and Team Northwest Territories round off the bottom of Pool A. Pool B has Team British Columbia at the top with 1 win, Team Alberta at number 2, and in last place, Team Wisconsin, unfortunately, has no wins. Sure, they're going to get some, though. Under 14 boys basketball, Pool A has Team Ontario currently in the lead with 1 win over Team Manitoba. Wisconsin will play their first game tomorrow against Team Ontario. Should be a good matchup. Pool B, we have Team British Columbia leading the charge with 2 games played and 2 games won. In second place, we have Team New York winning 1 game after playing their first game, so maybe they can keep that winning streak alive. Rounding out Pool B, we have Team Alberta and Team Eastern Door in the north. The under 16 girls basketball, Team Ontario has won 1 game in Pool A, and Pool B, Team British Columbia is pulling ahead with 2 wins. British Columbia looks like they have some strong basketball players there, Roger. Looking at the under 16 boys basketball results, between Team Ontario and Team Wisconsin, both playing 1 game and winning both of their games. And in under 19 basketball, boys basketball, we see teams Alberta and British Columbia with 2 wins. Ontario, Wisconsin, Manitoba, and New Brunswick each have 1 win. Now we're going to take a look at our player profile of the day for the 2014 North American Indigenous Games here on Access 7.
Player Profiles. Sponsored by Custom Creations. Vehicle accessories for your lifestyle.
My full name is Riley Joe Sear, and I am from Pasqua First Nation. I attend school on my reserve, Pasqua High School. I am competing in fastball. NAIG means to me that all the athletes get to show in North America. They get to come along and show what they've got in the sports and their skills. Well, I made the bat catcher for the NAIG team, under 19 NAIG team, and so my late mushroom was a bat catcher, and so that kind of boosted up my spirit to try out and compete more and more, push myself to be in the same position that he played in. So it's kind of like an honor to me to play in NAIG in his position. So, well, I think this opportunity for NAIG, for them, they could go a really long ways for them. And myself, we could very easily to get looked at or scouted in any sport in NAIG, and this would be a great opportunity for anyone to get picked up for any good team or go to nationals or something bigger than that. It would be a really great experience for myself and others to go somewhere farther in the sports that they love and have really potential skills for it and push for it. So.
Player Profiles. Sponsored by Custom Creations. Vehicle accessories for your lifestyle.
So welcome back. I brought some medals in to have a look at. We had these done here locally in Saskatchewan, in Regina actually, by Bravo Tango and their crew. So wanted to have a look at these. Have you seen these yet, Brad?
I was actually at the opening, like the unveiling, when we had the press conference, and yeah, it's just wonderful to see that all these athletes competing for such beautiful pieces of jewelry.
Well, and it's not just that. I mean, for me, like I look at the flow, the story that came along with the medals and our logo and all that stuff. I mean, I love the way you did the lanyards. These ones here are the plain ones, so they don't have any of the actual games on them. These ones here are just plain, but the ones that the athletes will be getting will have their icon on, which I think is really, really cool. And those ones are fantastic. We can't have access to those, unfortunately, because we got to wait till those ones actually get delivered at the end of the games. So.
Yeah, for our viewers out there, can you actually explain a little bit about the logo that's on the medal itself?
Yeah, we've got, I mean, because it's called the North American Indigenous Games, and especially because we're here in Treaty 4 territory, we had to have the Métis symbol in there. The Métis are a big part of the Indigenous community. We have the eagle feather here that's at the top, and that represents, of course, First Nations people. And then we have the Uli. Uli, yeah, I always get that wrong. The Uli here, which represents the Inuit people from the north. So, encompassing that circle again, we like to do things in circles, the moon is round, that kind of thing, the earth is round. So that was kind of the premise behind the whole logo itself. I mean, it's an amazing job. The designer is actually Ben Tingley from Bravo Tango. Really cool guy, very in tune to the community, and he's also an entrepreneur. So, excellent guy. Some of the things that we've been seeing, with the group here. I mean, this is my first games. I haven't had a chance to be in that group. The opening ceremonies, man, like blew me away. Like just the way it was pulled together. I mean, we work with these guys every day, and we don't always get to see everything that they do. But you look at Tessa Denemy and her crew and what they pulled together. I thought it was amazing. Anything stand out for you?
It was, you could feel the energy, the energy in the stadium when you have those thousands of athletes parading through, holding their flags up. What I thought was really cool was the lacrosse players holding their sticks up. It's like you could already see them sizing each other up. They're like, I'm going to take that guy out. I'm going to take that guy out. Who knows? It's going to be great. All those lacrosse games are going to be happening at Val Ritchie, so I'm hopefully getting a chance to go out and experience some of that. Some of the other areas of interest for myself, I know you like to get out on the links.
Yeah.
I like to get out on the links. I wouldn't mind going out to Tor Hill and taking in some of these athletes. Like, I can't believe that we have this level of athleticism coming to Regina.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're going to see during the week here as we profile some of the athletes and some of the work that they've done. So, to get to this point, competitions that they had to have regionally, that kind of work and the ethic that goes into it. These kids and the discipline that these young people have, it's absolutely amazing. The one thing about the opening ceremonies that I thought was fantastic was the diversity. Not just in, having our live performers as far as the artists, that performed. George Leach was phenomenal, of course, and had a little run-in at the games. I had to jump up on stage because George lost his mic, so I got a war wound from jumping up on stage. But, George was fantastic, and Nez was amazing. We've got a great amount of talent in the Indigenous community. George has a Juno. Crystal's got a Juno. We've got Tribe Called Red is coming. Amazing. And not just that, but the theater group and the piece that they did, using the cloth the way that they did to create the eagle and those elements. Having our veterans there was phenomenal. Having our elders involved. The Lance Runners, when they came in, I got to watch the Lance Runners and having them here today, in the episode was amazing. But to watch the way the communities came out for them, like Gordon's, Alan talked about that. That's my home reserve, and to see my community step up like that, it was amazing. And to have them come in, this was going to be their last event, together. They had a little circle right after, and there were tears shed. They just made new friends, and now they were separating. Gabby's going to be sticking around and helping out with the games, but all of those elements combined together in that opening ceremonies. Unbelievable. With everything that we've gone through to get to that point. And the way it flowed, the natural progression. For me, it was just phenomenal.
Yeah, it was. Like that energy, you could just feel that electricity inside the stadium, the cheering, having Team Saskatchewan come in last. That, I'd say, if we had a roof on the stadium, they ripped that roof right off that stadium. But it was just amazing to see that. There's so many community members that have relatives competing in the games, far and wide. And I think that it was very monumental to actually have those individuals come to our opening ceremonies, and be involved in these games. Another area that I thought was very, very touching and moving for a lot of people was having the previous Games Council from Cowichan come into Taylor Field there in Mosaic Stadium and do their dance and come in order to show respect. Respect is a very important part of Indigenous culture. Absolutely. So to recognize them in that capacity, I think was very, very special. And I look forward to hopefully going into the next games representing our pride here in Treaty 4 territory.
Yeah, the Cowichan group, I had the opportunity to spend some time, preparing Regina for the first bid that we tried a couple of years ago, and we sent a delegation to Cowichan to do the bid. I worked on the bid book and stuff, so to have them here, when I was walking along the field, down at ground level, I happened to see the chief holding that paddle. And I went and talked to him about the paddle, and that paddle actually has a Cowichan logo on one side, and it has the NAIG logo on the other side. And that was what they presented to Vice Chief Leroy, which I thought was just, you're right. It was a really touching moment, to make that passing of the guard, kind of scenario. Speaking of Team Saskatchewan when they came in, as I was running along the edge down there, I ran into one of our chiefs, Chief Cook. from La Ranch. And she was like trying to get through the crowd because Ontario had gone through and, they were moving up to their seats. And so we managed to get her through. And I kind of, everybody stepped back and let me get her through there. And then she had her bonnet with her. So she had it smudged up, and can I walk in with them? And I said, sure. I don't see why not. You're here, So she put her bonnet on and she joined Team Saskatchewan and came in with them. And then she gave me her phone and she said, "Can you take some pictures of me?" So all of a sudden I became her photographer, right? So it was so much fun, like just to see the look on her face, the pride that she had, as a chief. In her people, like it was, we don't get to see that at that level. We don't see the politicians that much.
Yeah, and also we actually had the First Nations University of Canada princess, we had the Miss Treaty 4 princess, them to come and speak and represent, like we want to show the strength of our Indigenous women, our young Indigenous women, in order to be able to show how important they are to our culture. I think that was very monumental. Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to actually this whole week, this entire week. If I get time away, I get time to go check out some performances happening at Cultural Village, being able to go check out some sports. This has been a long time coming, and I think that Regina and the surrounding communities have a really great opportunity to be able to come out and see some of the elite athletes that we have from across North America, and I'm just so pleased to be a part of it, like being able to come here and enjoy who knows what's going to happen today that we're going to talk about tomorrow.
Exactly.
Because it's going to all happen here on Access 7, and we're looking forward to being able to bring this news to all of our viewers in order to be able to let them get in on the fun. Also, I actually want to just jump on this. You were talking about taking pictures and stuff, being a photographer. You know how many selfies I seen being taken yesterday? Artists taking selfies of themselves. Yeah, exactly. Everybody's taking selfies from on stage. You had the hosts taking selfies with the crowd in the background. Yeah. It was awesome, and we want to make sure that everybody knows about hashtag 2014, NAIG 2014.
Exactly. The other thing that got me too was, not just the selfies, but, seeing it on Facebook right away, seeing it on Twitter, we were like, we blew up Twitter yesterday, with the opening ceremonies. And for me, that was one of the most, to hear that, to know that we were trending, and all the hard work that we put into it, working with the NAIG crew and being a part of that, it was like, okay, this is day one. This whole week is going to be just amazing. We've got all these athletes here. We have all these diverse cultural groups that are coming here, that are here right now. The other part that I really liked was seeing all the non-Native people, non-Indigenous people that were out in the stands and cheering on all these young athletes they'd never seen before, never having experienced anything like that. Besides Grey Cup, of course, and of course the riders are the champions of that. So this is a great time for us, and we've got some really exciting things coming back to us. And those are all of the events from day one of NAIG 2014. The games run until the 27th of July, so make sure you catch all of the action on Action Channel 7, Access Channel 7, or Channel 70 in HD. Tomorrow, we'll be reviewing all of Day 2 sporting events. We'll have soccer, lacrosse, badminton, baseball, basketball, canoeing, kayaking. So stay tuned for the current medal standings. Thanks for joining us. We're going to have a wonderful time this week, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great evening from Access 7.